different episode that took the biggest emotional toll on you? Jared, what?
So I'm still working through that.
Too soon.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I get, like my shoulders go up when he gets in the driver's seat, so, and rightfully so. So when people that have never even been on the show, guest stars, get to drive. Remember when we
Was
pulled
that
in?
the baby when she pulls out? And who was it? When Courtney was supposed to. Was that baby?
No.
No, that wasn't baby.
That was baby. What was the episode where we pull up and we have the valet?
Yeah, that was baby.
That was a baby, right?
Yeah.
That was the literally having to hand the keys over to somebody and let them get in the car and drive away. That was not me. That was Jensen going like, oh. No, don't, okay, all right, that was, took that turn a little close, didn't you? I was, like, seriously, there was something
There was also
about...
there was also a legitimate Jensen reaction when Courtney and Misha are in the car and she locks the doors and just drives away, right? Because we had done the part of the scene where Courtney is walking away, Misha's walking away, and we kind of stay there before she drives away. And then it was sort of like a pickup, and like, okay, now resetting the cameras, and it was just, and she's, you know, there in the car, and it's 40 feet away. You can't really see off the glare of the windshield. And they call action, and like this full stunt move, like blasting right by us. And it's
like,
a lot more
full, I mean, they were spinning tires,
it's a
kicking
lot more
rocks, and I
dramatic
was...
as a person than it looks on screen. Like it's a big, it's like a rhino, just. And Jensen looks at me, he's like, "What does she think she's doing?" I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "That's the stunt driver." Like in Courtney's clothing, so it was actually.
I thought it was Courtney. I was about to have me some words.
Yeah. He didn't see that they put in
Like, yeah, unless you are a stunt performer, nobody drives her like that.
Yeah.
But this one.
Yeah. It was one of the full-on unionized.
Very protective of that.
And Jared, do you have an episode that took the largest emotional toll on you?
Oh God.
Probably one of the episodes where you had to be somebody else, like play a different.
Yeah, those were difficult. Playing a different version of, say, like a Gadriel or of Soulless or.
Those are the ones that kind of get in your head the most.
Oh yeah, probably the end of whatever season was where Sam had to kind of kill Hell Sam and Soulless Sam. He had to encounter because you're doing both sides of it.
What was the one where you were in the mirror?
That was
you were
Swan Song.
talking to Lucifer.
That was the Swan Song was tough.
That one took its toll.
Yeah.
The emotional scenes, though, like what you're thinking, like where we get emotional. Those are tough to come back from. I didn't want to say cry. But I did, so there you go. Those are tough to come back from in the moment, but something that you have to live in, day after day, which is these kind of episodes where you're playing something different, you're having to think about something in a different context or from a different point of view. Those are the ones that kind of keep you up at night or, make you exhausted by the end of the day.
And more often than not, if we have a super emotional scene, we'll request to film it at the beginning of the day to get out of the way, because if you shot like stunt scenes for 8, 9, 10 hours, and then it's like, okay, and now here's your monologue where you talk about torturing people in hell or whatever it is, you're like, I don't know if I have that in me right now. I'm exhausted, So to get out of the way, which also isn't great, because then you spend everything, you're like, okay, well now I have a fight scene. All right, what do I do? But they're fun.
I'd much rather do 12 hours of fight scenes than 12 hours.
But I'm saying doing both in a day.
Yeah.
I think the day in Heart where I had to kill Madison, I think we then did this like her going into the closet or something. So it was a full-on the scene with us in the kitchen, and then going to like, okay, now we have to block the thing where we lock her in the closet because we realize she's turning. So you're like, but I'm exhausted. Like, can we do it tomorrow? No, the answer is no.
No, and it's 3 in the morning, so drink a cup of coffee and pansy.
I think it's called a tub of coffee.
Yeah.
Mark said to ask you guys what life would be like without Robin.
Without Robin?
Yeah.
It'd be a lot more difficult, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, she's had a few breaks, obviously, and she and her husband will go take a week here or there.
And it's noticeable.
It's noticeable, yeah. And there are many Robins, not in Robin's job, but we have many people that we've become really close with, you know? So it's difficult. It's almost like the earlier question. I don't like thinking about life without the show or y'all or the Robins of...
I will say that she is, in my opinion, there are two people in my opinion that probably deserve a producer credit. No questions asked. One is Kevin Parks, just for the amount of knowledge.
There's a tree by it.
See, as a producer, you have to show up.
Not me then. I'm out.
And Robin, she has this knack for continuity, and she's like, well, you know, we used this blade to kill this thing in season 4. Why doesn't it kill this thing in season 13? That doesn't make sense. And I'm like, I'll call the writers. And then I'll call the writers and be like, Robin brings up a good point. They're like, tell Robin she's right, we'll fix it. That happens probably once a month. So she's looking out for the show, and but it's funny.
I think it's also indicative of what kind of...
She's also like, I mean, I don't care. It's not my job. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Point taken. Let me get on it.
But our crew takes an active part in the show. It's not like they show up to do their job and, okay, here, I hand you your watch, you hand me your wedding ring, and here's the angel blade, and here's the this, and they go home. Like, we care about it.
Yeah, I see the production assistants, the guys who literally their job is to make sure the set's clean, keep taking the garbage out. If there's a spill or a glass breaks or something, they swoop in with their mops and broom. I mean, it's kind of a thankless job. I see those people sitting down reading the scripts. So there's
Christian Vampire Diaries, but Vampire Diaries.
Right, yeah, they're reading Legends of Tomorrow, but so there's really an active investment from a lot of the crew in what the show is and where it's going and what it means to them and what it means to their families. So yeah, life would be difficult without any of those people.
Obviously.
Yes. Thank you. But surprisingly not so difficult without Mark. I don't know if that's just... I kid.
You're on fire.
To portray things on camera, picking locks and stuff. I was wondering how much of that have you ever used in your daily life? Not necessarily just picking locks. But
Every day of my life, I act like I can do shit, but I can't.
I can vouch for that.
Be a good father, be a good husband, good friend, walk and talk, be a good person. I'm just kidding.
Walk and talk.
As soon as I start walking,
I would. So one of our electrics, Tyler, he had an invisible lock. So it's something that you can practice. Did you see this?
I brought it with me.
Invisible's not the right word.
It is an invisible lock. Did you see this?
Joke's on you. It's invisible. A
What
clear.
did you show me?
It was a clear lock, so you can see all the mechanics inside, and it's to practice picking locks. And so he let me have it for a few days, and I was working with it, trying to and it's very difficult to pick a lock, even with a lock pick set. So we always joke that when we walk up and we're like. We're literally the fastest lock pickers in the world. There's no way that it would take 9 times that long, even if we were good at what we did. So, but I'm thinking about.
Did you start driving or something?
No.
What is that?
You need more coffee, it's okay.
I'm trying to think of like what.
Yeah, what
I've been able to
what on the
do
show was bookable in real life. salting and burning bones.
You know how to hold a gun properly now?
Hold it down properly. I already knew how to drive a car.
Yeah, no, you know, weapons safety is something that, because for some reason, we're either dealing with knives or guns or something like that.
Jensen's.
So we understand, and we've been, you know, weapons safety has been kind of always there, and it's kind of been hammered home as far as the people that, you know, are the ones that give it to us. In fact, generally, if I'm sitting there like spinning my 1911, it's Robin that just comes over, grabs it, and goes, "Stop it." I'm sorry.
That's a great question. I'm going to think about it more. Right now, I'm excited.
Going all the way back, when you guys first met each other, what did you think of each other? And what was your chemistry? And be honest, it's for each of you.
I think I thought, is this what this guy's wearing to a network audition?
I
think you had a hoodie on. You had like long hair, and I'm like, what high school band camp did they just get this kid
I think my first thought was, how do legs bend like that?
Did this guy park his horse out front?
You know, I think I sort of knew when I found out that he would be the one that I was reading, because I found out, I'm sure you did too, it was like, hey, you're going to be with Jared Padalecki, blah, blah, blah. I found out like, hey, it's going to be you and Jensen Ackles reading, blah, blah, blah.
No.
Okay. Did he tell you anything?
No, I walked in because I thought I was coming in to read for against other deans.
Oh, funny.
I thought there was going to be like 4 or 5. Generally, when you get to this level of the audition process.
Well, it was with the dean.
Luckily, I was able to save that name. But I thought that I was going to come in there. There was going to be 4 other guys, all competing for the same role. And I walked in, and he was, you know, it was just this kid with floppy hair and a hoodie sitting on the couch. And I was like, hey man. And we introduced ourselves, and I was like, are you reading for Dean? He's like, no, I'm reading for Sam. I was like, is there anybody else here? He's like, no, it's just you and me. Well, that's kind of weird, isn't it? And you were like, yeah, I don't know. And then I think we very quickly were like, where are you from? Texas? Oh, no way, I'm from Dallas, I'm from San Antonio. And so it was a very quick.
Where's your football team, Cowboys?
So it was a very quick, and it was, I mean, we have these kinds of interactions with guys. That was a pretty frequent thing in our lives at that time because we were doing lots of auditions. We were constantly walking into waiting rooms and signing in and seeing 7 other guys that are our same demographic.
You just learn the basics really quickly.
Yeah, you're like, hey, where are you from? You know, and nobody's from. Very rarely do you ever meet anybody who's actually from LA.
Right.
So it was
it also helps in auditions because usually auditioning it's you with a casting director, but if you're doing a scene with somebody when it's you with a person who also might be, it helps to try and build, I don't want to say chemistry, but some knowledge of each other before it's just like, you never met somebody, you don't know anything about them, you read with them. To have some sense of somebody. Yeah, we were pretty quick friends. I mean, I did find out that I was going to be reading with you in some way, shape, or form, or meeting you or something. I remember IMDb'ing him, and it was like a Dark Angel picture or something. And I was like, how does one suck their cheeks in so much? I remembered I knew all the stuff he had worked on, you know what I mean? I didn't know him as an actor. Like, I'm sure he had never watched Gilmore Girls. I hadn't watched Dark Angel, you know what I mean?
Hashtag Team Rory.
She's the one they're trying to figure out who's on the team with her. It's always Team Rory. It's either Jensen
that one out.
And so I didn't know what to think. We got in there and I was like, cool, like he can act, he's communicating, and this will be fun. You get in, well, it's not.
He's a thespian.
Well, have my back here. It's not a foregone conclusion that the people you're in the room with know how to act. A lot of times it's, this is the way I was told to deliver my line. And if you give them something else, they're like, this is the way I was told to deliver it. Like, come on, like, let's play. It's not hitting a tennis ball against the wall. It's playing with somebody else who's going to take you places you didn't think you'd go and make sure you're better. So I was like, sweet, I had fun. As nerve-wracking as it is, it's a room like 30 people. They make all the decisions for the network and the studio. They're about to decide, you know, what the next month of your life is going to be like if you get to shoot a pilot, and in this case, the next 13 years of your life, hopefully, and going on. So it's pretty cool.
I wonder, out of those 30 executives that were in that room that day, how many still hold that job other than Peter?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure that most of the people that were making the decision in that room aren't even in those positions anymore.
Yeah, they've either moved up or down or sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Roth, though, who was the president of Warner Brothers Television, he has been there since day one and continues to be just a champion for us in the show.
I wonder who in that room was secretly thinking like, nah, this isn't gonna work.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you later. About that Jeffrey Dean Morgan, huh?
Yeah, he's pretty.
He's a charmer. You can see where we get it from.
Not a bad dad to have.
So this is for Jensen, and I don't know if anybody asked you in the gold panel, but for those of us who are poor and didn't go. He said to ask Jensen about the time he almost lost his eye in the fight scene in Kane's Kitchen. And we all like to hear about blood and gore and stunts.
The time that I almost lost my eye?
That's what he said. He said you're fighting
With
on the
Jesse
table there
in
and you
Kane's
almost lost
Kitchen.
your eye.
Yeah, no. I think he makes. I almost took someone's eye out.
Oh, well, then he was mistaken.
He was slightly mistaken, but not far from mistaken, because the person whose eye I almost took out is my stunt double, Todd. So what had happened was, and if you look at if you watch the scene, Todd is he's the actual demon that I'm fighting with up until the very end, and I kill him at the very end. So the fact that I was actually fighting the guy who normally doubles me meant that I didn't have a double that day. So I had to do everything. So because I was fighting my double, and then at the very end, there's that moment where he's slammed onto to Kane's table there, and then I take the knife and drive it right through his neck. Luckily, the knife.
That was awesome.
Luckily, the knife that I had was they call it rubber knife, but it's like very hard plastic. And there was a lot of like fight choreography that we were going through during the fight just before the stab. The tip of the blade had gotten bent like that, so it was like this, and I didn't realize that. So when I went to stab, I was just going to go just to the left of his face, but the tip had bent this way, and so instead it caught him right under the eye and literally just opened him up. Because even though it's not a steel knife, it's a very hard pointed rubber tip, and so it sliced him right open. And I of course was like mortified, and he just pops up and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just you've got a massive cut on your eye." And he's like, "Oh, all right, are we going again?" And he's just like holding his face together. He's like, "We're going again?" Can we go again? Yeah. Todd, you're bleeding. That's not that bad.
Let me said that you were on fire that episode because you also stabbed this guy. You probably got 2 people in the history of Supernatural, and it was both that episode. Remember you stabbed me right in the knee?
That's what happens when you give a guy 9 hours to shoot a fight scene. Like, listen, we're not gonna do anything but fights and stunts today, and it's gonna be all you. You have no stunt double. Go.
Yeah,
Don't hurt anybody.
after Dean and Kane fight, and he comes down with that giant, that's not a knife, this is a knife kind of knife.
Hey, to be fair, that was not my fault.
I wasn't holding the knife.
No, but you decided to knee it.
I didn't need it.
Look, it was like this. This would be the knife.
Yeah, okay. So as
And then this would be Jared.
as you're collapsing. So he's supposed to collapse, but
And I do this.
he was actually collapsing. I didn't.
I didn't go like this.
I didn't see the playback. The point is, Jensen's a large man, and you can. I'm saying that
Rotund. Husky.
if he's gonna actually fall down, I wasn't gonna pick him up like this. Because that's really bad. So I had to kind of I had to set my feet, and in setting
And
my feet,
I felt it. Like I felt the
and we're
knife
rolling. It's
go
like
into
something
his
rehearsal.
leg.
So I kind of do this, and I feel like a ka-ching. I'm like,
And it's just in there. Like it's in there a good half inch.
and it's a real knife. This one,
This was a real steel blade. And I'm sitting there and I'm still.
And they haven't called cut yet, so he and I can tell he knows I know, he knows I know, he knows I know, he knows I know.
I'm like,
He knows everything.
is he gonna stop the scene? Because I'm pretty sure
Yeah, and so
the
then
knife
it's
is in his leg.
and then it's,
And he didn't. He was just like, I think I've been stabbed. But I'm not sure you knew exactly.
He's like, what?
All right. Well, because you didn't stop. And I was like,
Dude, there's a door in your neck.
I would. Too many
I didn't
doors.
stop, so I was like, okay, it's the end of the scene anyways. And they call cut, and I'm basically holding him up. I can feel the blade is in my leg, right above my knee. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then they go cut, and immediately Ackles just goes, dude, you all right? I felt that. And I look down, and there's already blood spreading.
Already pluming on his jeans, yeah.
It had gone through my pants, through my skin. Luckily, my knee had stopped it.
I think you called it your bone.
Patellas, better for things than just bending. And also stop knives. But yeah, you were 2 for 2 that episode. And
That was not my fault.
It's your fault. I blame you. I'll say this. It's times like this that make me realize how awkward it must be for the doctor convention on the other side of the hotel to walk past these doors. We're all talking about stabbing each other in the neck and the face. So I got him in the face and then I stabbed Jared in the leg. People were like, what are they talking about in there? They're crazy. Someone's going, woo! When you're like, yeah, stabbed him in the neck. Thank you for your question.
Can I contradict you, however?
You can try.
I will. I'm a
Do
teacher.
it.
I'll do that. Okay, that was not the same episode.
Was it not?
Just saying.
Good, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But thank you for the extra story.
I would say this then. If it had happened twice in a week, Mercury could have been in retrograde. 2 different episodes, this boy's got a problem. He's got a stabbing people problem. What was that other episode called? How many did Tim do?
Jensen stabs people.
The capital, Carson City. People forget about Carson City.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't. Don't. I love Carson City.
Every now and again, we play the Capitol game on set to pass the time. And Jared is so excited because he thinks he knows Nevada. And it's Nevada. Reno. No.
It's pronounced Nevada.
Not in Texas, it's not. I don't know how you West Coasters pronounce things, but Down where the salt of the earth.
Nevada? It's pronounced Nevada.
It's me today.
Thanks, Diane.
Thanks, Karen. We'll go check it out. I do have a desire to go.
We're not gonna go check it out.
I'm going to, for sure.
When?
When the show's over.
Where is it?
Living Canada.
It's near Renault. Towards the Pacific Northwest coast of Nevada.
Well, now we're gonna have to look it up. Mission accomplished. Thank you. Hi.
There's a lot of sass coming from that side. From the west coast of this room.
I love you guys both, and I was wondering if you have ever had a near-death experience, and if so, what was it?
When Jensen stabbed me in the leg. I was bled out.
I mean, when you think about it, I was...
You need the knife.
When he jabbed the knife into me, had I bent down to tie my shoe instead? That was the nearest to death I've ever been. Still traumatized to this day. You?
Hey, Jared. Did you see that water bottle hit my foot?
No, you picked it.
Exactly.
My leg was stationary. It didn't move.
Yeah, once you stabbed yourself with a knife.
You cut the ligaments. I couldn't move it anymore. Severed it. I flipped my car in Africa. I thought I was dead.
What? Everybody's laughing. I flipped my car, I was done. What?
I did. Some have heard this story, but when I shot Fight of the Phoenix in 2003, I was on the way to a set, and we were filming the sand dunes of Namibia, and I took a corner too fast and on the sand in this car that was probably built in the 80s. Anyways, I sort of let the, like it wasn't like a four-wheel drive, like, oh, here's a truck to drive through. It was like, here's a little African Ford Focus. Nothing wrong with Ford. Senior Ford people. Anyways, it turned and I rolled. And when I rolled, I had my flip-flops on, which is probably a mistake. So you kind of brace, and the car did a loop-de-loop and hit soft sand and hard sand and a berm, and I did a complete roll. And I get there, and I'm like, and I'm fine. And I'm like, I've seen a lot of movies. I'm like, the car's gonna explode. I have to get out. And so, I did it full on, like
Full slow-mo?
7 steps, dive,
Dive, and then nothing happens.
honestly, and nothing happened. And so I'm now, 60 feet away, hiding behind a tree. So the
Anytime now.
So the exploding shrapnel didn't hit me. And we were filming, it was supposed to look like a plane crash in the middle of nowhere. So we were filming in the middle of nowhere in the dunes. We were not near anything, no city lights, no traffic, there were no other cars traveling around this private area. And the car didn't explode. And I was like, okay, I should probably get my cell phone. And they had a production phone they give to all the actors. And I was like, I should let them know that I'm gonna be late today. So I go back to the car. No, I go back to the car, and I'm looking, by the way, the only injury I could tell that I had was that a cut on the top of my foot from where I had braced and it hit the bottom of the accelerator pedal. And so my foot's bleeding a little bit, but I'm like, I just flipped a car and I'm fine. So I go to the car, and I'm like, I'm gonna let production know that I am gonna be late because I rolled the car. and I can't find the phone. And I'm like, wait a second. And I kind of look around, I take a moment. I'm like, I can't hear, there are no sounds, there are no birds. I'm like, I can't find my phone. I'm like, oh my God, I'm dead. I don't need a phone because I'm dead. So the planet took my phone away. My earthly phone, because I don't need it. Of course there are no birds. And so I'm like, that's why the car didn't explode. I'm already dead. And so I just sort of like, I sit on the sand next to the car, kind of bummed, right? And what was the book where the girl sees herself and she's dead and she's able to look? Yes, so that's me. I'm like, okay, maybe I got flung from the car. So I look around a little bit, looking for my earthly dead body. Because I'm now spirit Jared, you know? I probably tried flying to see if I could do that yet. That happens longer after you die. You can't fly immediately. It takes a couple months, I think. And so, no flying. I guess in hindsight, I wasn't dead, so maybe you can fly. And so I'm walking around like, I don't have a phone. I wonder, like, I'm looking to see where my body went. And then here comes this car, and I'm like, oh, it must be nice to be a human alive. And it's my producer, Whit Godfrey, his assistant. And he pulls over, his name's Eric. And he pulls over, and he's like, hey man, you all right? You can see me? Yeah, you all right? Are you dead too? He wasn't dead either, as a matter of fact. Long story short, and then we flew away. Yeah, long story short, he was not dead, I was not dead. My car was a write-off, because my car was dead, it landed on a big rock. Because when I saw the car, I was like, it doesn't look too bad, this might not be too expensive.
Did you see the car flying away?
I did.
So there is a car heaven.
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah, all cars go to heaven. Yeah, but I didn't die, so that's the moral of the story.
Yeah, I heard that story. Did I tell you about the one where I stabbed a dude in the knee and he almost died? Where Nias and I climbed to the top of a construction crane. Kids, don't do this. Adults, don't do this. This was years ago, I think, I don't know. I was young, let's put it that way. And a friend of mine and I thought it would be entertaining to climb one of those construction cranes in the middle of the night. This one happened to be building a 48-story apartment building. So it was roughly 52 stories high. And we climbed over the construction fence, and this was so stupid. We climbed all the way in, like, because there's ladders inside the scaffolding. Climbed all the way up to where the base meets the arm. And there's like a hatch. Well, that hatch was locked. So instead of going, well, this was a bad idea, let's turn around, we decided to climb out of the scaffolding and up and around. Now we're 500 feet in the middle of the night. No one knows we're there. And so we do it, we climb over, and then we walk all the way out to the end of the arm there. We dangle our feet off the edge. Oh yeah, it's swaying. And we just sit there and just, you know, have a conversation, just hang out for 15, 20 minutes, and then we're like, all right, let's go back. And in going back, it had started to rain a little bit. So the metal on the crane was now slick, and we had to climb outside of the scaffolding and back in. And I slipped. And luckily, my buddy Mike, who was actually no longer with us, not for that reason, had the very intelligent idea of we found a little piece of rope up there, and he had tied it around my chest. He's like, I'm just gonna, because it's wet now, he's like, why don't you and I'll just belay you down. And I'm like, all right, so I slipped, and he literally caught me. And then I swung myself in, got in, and then he did the same. He tied it around his waist, and I held it. But that was pretty much as close to stupid death as I ever got in my life. It was after that where I was like, I don't need to do stuff like that anymore. Check that off the list. And Mom, if you're gonna see this, I'm so sorry. I'm still here though. I'll figure out how to do. I remember when they were like, oh, and then he has a reverse 180 in the Impala. I'm like, I've never done that. But I'm not gonna let my stunt double do it. So I spent the whole hour of lunch learning how to do a reverse 180 in the Impala, which is, in a modern car, easier. In a 1967 tank, it's very, very heavy in the front, and it's, that front end goes, so anyway, it took me a couple tries. There was another one, cleaning all the weapons, breaking them all apart, and putting them all back together again without looking at them, was one that Phil wanted me to do. So I forget what season that was, but there's an episode where Dean has the like shotgun, pistol, 2 pistols, and then a shotgun all laid out in front of him, and he's cleaning it. And I never looked down, but I put the whole thing back together again. Rack it, put it down, then start putting the other one back together again. And Phil was like, you think you can do this and never look down? And I was like, why would I do that? Because it's cool. Then yes, I will.
I've enjoyed finding out how much I enjoy the fight scenes, like the choreography of our sort of intensive fight scenes. I hate doing, and if y'all go back and watch, just know to yourself that Jared Padalecki hates painting sigils. Because there's not, at least Latin I have some knowledge of, they'll show you a template of a sigil you're supposed to paint on the wall, and then they'll be like, okay, so you're painting this one here, and you're like, looks like, okay, a check and a backwards Z with a circle and okay, and like, okay, and then after that, Gadriel comes in, so you run over here and you do this one. I'm like, I can't even remember what I was supposed to do in the first one. And so then they'll go like, okay, what we'll do is we'll have our professional on-set painter Milan start it, and you just remember a few of the things to finish it, but he gets there with his paintbrush, and he paints like a perfect circle. It's all the same width, and then I'm supposed to be painting with my finger, and it looks like I did. I'm like, this looks stupid. Like, yeah, it looks stupid. I know, that's what I said.
It's the difference between like a professional artist and if a 2-year-old came out.
A 2-year-old would do better. I've seen 2-year-olds do better, so I hate it. And then they'll be like, well, it doesn't really match. I'm like, guys, please don't make this scene about the sigil painting. They're all made up anyways. Like, I don't think, dear Supernatural, I love the show, but the sigil of sulfur was wrong in season 8. So I'm no longer gonna watch it. But I just think, the idea is we're painting angel blasting sigils or something, like, let's move on.
There's a saying we have on set where, like, if there's some detail in the background or something like this, like a sigil is just maybe slightly different than what we used for the
Or
same.
if we're reading a book and it's on a certain page for the wide, and then it's on a different page for the close-up.
Some very fine detail that the saying on set, that people say this and on a lot of sets and movie sets and stuff, is if they're paying attention to that, we've lost them. And my response to the people that said on our set is, have you met our fans? Because we have. And they will know, and we haven't lost them. Sam, Mom's on a hunting trip and hasn't been home in a few days.
When I told Mom I was afraid of the dark, she put an Uzi under my pillow.
Mom's a little bit more robust than Dad.
I like Mom a lot more, huh?
Maybe
I think her whole idea was
with
trying to hide it.
steak in their hands and some salt.
Steak and some salt. And a fork and knife to eat the steak with the salt. Some hollandaise. peppercorn sauce on the steak with the sauce?
I mean, you guys are Hardy Boys.
Oh, I get it. The Hardy Boys.
Well, we're certainly not the Loose Chesters.
It's like, oh, actually, Sam looks pretty good driving me.
You're damn right, girl. She speaks the truth. She speaks the truth.
He's pretty simple. He needs food, water, and compliments.
And candy.
So my
And an occasional bag of candy.
Sam is very good in the supportive role, supporting Dean.
Yeah.
So do you think?
As is Dean is good in a supportive role.
Yeah. You know, think of it as
You're welcome.
Jared would rather be goofy and silly and humorous than dramatic, but I feel like Sam he's not boring or without humor, but he's just not the funny guy, you know? He can do it. It's odd for me to try and stay true to who I know Sam to be, who I believe Sam to be, and be humorous or drive the car. Like, he'd rather be behind a book. He knows how to drive a car. If he needs to, he can do it. I'm sure he could figure out how to do a reverse 180, yada yada. I mean, like, not that Dean could presumably for years, Dean was reading books and doing the research to go hunting when Sam was in school. So I think it's not that they can't. I'm sure they can fill in the blanks when the others don't. I mean, Sam had a car. Sam had a Charger, a modern day Charger. So clearly he knows how to drive. But I just don't think he's interested in it. He's like, Dean likes it, whatever. I can research while he's getting me to where I need to go. It's nice to have an unpaid chauffeur, you know? Thank you for your observation.
I'm not unpaid.
Ladies and gentlemen of the SBN family, as is our wont, we do our last question, but this time it's our last question of 2017. So I'm sure it's going to be amazing. SBN family, meet Amanda. Amanda, meet SBN family.
Before we get into this, I think we should talk about the pressure she's under. Because usually it's the last one in the panel. That's a tremendous amount of pressure.
And there'll be another panel.
Yeah, I mean, it's like whatever, right? Any given town. And then, yes, it lives in perpetuity in the web, but blah, blah, blah. The point is, that's one moment. It sums up the year.
You're speaking for an entire generation.
It's the 40 to 54s, but it's a generation nonetheless.
I mean, to be fair, this is going to get us through the holidays.
Or it's going to wreck them for us.
That's true. No, it really will. I mean, this really is not only rounding out one year, it's really setting up the next year.
Yeah.
And all of our families.
This is the cliffhanging question we'll all think about until the next time we have a last question.
We have children whose happiness relies solely on this question.
That's right. And some of them are here. Yeah.
That's
Steve?
They're
backstage. They're backstage listening intently to what this question is.
Oh, there they are.
All right, man.
What is it?
All right. In the first seasons, especially the first few seasons, it seems like every time there is a monster that the brothers battle, they prefer to choke Sam and throw Dean into a wall. And I was just wondering if there was any particular reason for that, like either in the show or just because Sam's...
That's a good question. That's a good question.
So, I think Sam prefers to be choked. And Dean prefers blunt force trauma.
In all fairness, Sam is what we call extra large. He's harder to throw. Dean is extra medium, small medium, so a lot lighter.
But to be fair, if you throw Jared, you also have to throw his hair. It's a lot going on.
I think also, you know, Jensen has a reputation on set that he's usually the one to choke, so they wanted Sam to choke.
And this is why they choke Sam. Thank you very much.